Hey, welcome back to the TFL Podcast. You're here with Rowan and Arch, and we're going to tackle Week 14 in DFS here in Australia. Arch, how are you, mate?
You're doing good. Look, we've had a big day, as I was just saying off air.
You were.
Lots of things happening. I am post-Christmas show, Arch, today. So, yeah, we've
Things
got
just keep
some
happening
water.
for you. Last
Yeah,
week
we've
was
got some
post-maths retreat, Arch.
Yeah, look.
Whatever that
Yeah,
meant.
my poor liver had to put up with a lot. But here we are. We're good. I'm glad to be here, Rowan. Had a good round of DFS last week, which we'll talk about, no doubt, soon enough. But, yeah, no, up and about, ready for another week's action.
Yeah, no, I think, you did better than me last week. And, look, I think I played too many things. I got a little bit too varied. I was looking good after the morning, like the early games, and then the late games hit, and I just lost my footing, unfortunately. I thought I was going to look good and cash fairly well, but then, alas, that did not happen. Guys, you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We have a Patreon at the TFL Podcast, and you can join up for only $2 a month, and that's $2 a month. That's nothing, guys. And you can join our Discord where we've got a great chat, some great peeps, just talking crap, but also getting into DFS and figuring it all out for ourselves and giving people different advice. It's good. I really appreciate our little Discord chat, as we say each week. So jump on board with that. If you're on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. Of course, that's the way that.
Little worrying about the creeping in of NFT chats.
That's a separate.
Of late.
It's a separate thing.
We started a new thread, and my ignorance of I have no idea what NFT is, how they're worth something. I'm ignorant to it all. But intrigued, Rowan, as I said.
I think it's just a case of people will buy anything, and some people are profiting big time off of that.
Yeah.
And old Campy, he's thinking about how he can make some coin off of it as well, as a bit of a creator. And I'll watch his journey.
Yeah, I'm certainly not sinking money into it. That's for sure.
Hell no.
Or maybe I should. Maybe I should. I don't know.
It's hard to know, isn't it? Oh, look, people smarter than me are doing it. But anyway, guys, 5-star reviews. Always appreciated. Hit us up. And please share this podcast with all of your mates who are doing NFL fantasy. And let's get better together. Arch.
Yes.
How was last week? Tell us about last week. You did well.
Well, yeah, still not cracking a contest victory, so to speak, but 2 top 10 finishes across the round on the main slate, and coming in at 7th place in the mini. Really happy with my QB selections. As I said, over the last few weeks, my strategy has been narrowing my pool to just 2 QBs that I build my stacks around. I went a Tom Brady, which was fairly chalky. And then Justin Herbert stacks were so under-owned. Like, I couldn't believe it. And so, we're talking sub 10% pieces across, the charges. So they did well, especially the Keenan Allen teams that I had. And I've been leaning towards the onslaughts lately, and I'm having a bit of success with 2 to 3 pass catches to pair with those QBs. And quite often, it didn't work out this week, but the last time was having the running back with the QB. Like I had Fournette with the QB. So I tried a lot. Half of my Herbert stacks were with Eckler, and that just didn't work out on that side. But the 7th place was a Brady stack, and it was, fair bit of chalk with Sony Michel and Antonio Gibson. Sony Michel was still only 20% owned. I think that's just with Hendo being still active, scared a lot of people off, which meant at 8K getting 20. Like that was a huge leg up. So I was pretty happy with that. Gibson was very 35% owned, but my receivers, what I pivoted off of was the obvious Tampa Bay run backs of Cordero and Pitts. Like that, every man and his dog who's got Tom Brady was choosing one of those, and so I pivoted to Gage in this lineup.
Smart.
And he went bananas, and just had James Conner in the lineup just as a play, one-off play. That worked out pretty well. San Francisco D had me sweating bullets in the last game. I'm sitting in a professional development seminar, Rowan, and I can't watch anything. I've got ESPN Gamecast on my phone. I don't know, for some reason I thought I could, even though I have Game Pass on there, I don't know why I wasn't watching, but I guess I thought I was being better, like I was a good boy, not watching.
Sure. Yeah.
Still not paying attention.
No.
Sorry, bosses, if you ever listen. But yeah, when that fumble happened towards the end, I'm just like, yes! Because I thought I was going to drop out of the top 10 otherwise. So
yeah.
I was happy with that. And then the old Monday night football barn burner or barn freeze over, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't believe. So I think I got equal fifth maybe or something in that one. So it came away, but when you fifth place with 58.5 points.
Oh, it's gross. Like, that was a gross.
And I was only 2 points off of winning the thing. Like, that's how gross this game was. Yeah. It was the two running back build I thought was the best way to go about it. Harris and Ramondre were I thought, both or one will go bananas. And so if I have two, I think that, a lot of people, they don't like having the two running backs from the same team, especially when they have similar roles. They don't really,
no, that's
it's
right.
not
but
like
in
a
this,
clear
this
pass
game was
catcher.
something else. 3 pass attempts from Mac Jones is just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and really I think the only difference between mine and top place was them having Gabriel Davis, who caught the touchdown. Like, but to not have him, who was pretty key, super low.
You faded Mac Jones obviously as well.
In this lineup, yeah. So
lineup.
I put in a few, but Mac Jones was probably in half of my lineups.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, look, I had a good Thursday, way back when. Saints Cowboys came second. Me and Campy in the Discord chat took out number 1 and 2. That was
quite a nice little screenshot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. Thanks to Deontay Harris putting in that big 71-yard touchdown reception at the end. Skyrocketed us to number 1 and 2. So took that and unfortunately didn't make the most of the winnings and lost a little bit on the other couple slates. But hey, we're back. We're back around and that's fine. We're going to jump into Week 14. There's a new day. Always appreciate that. So, without further ado, Arch, let's jump into Week 14.
Oh, yeah! Woo, woo! Week 14. Happen every time. Yeah!
Alrighty, Week 14. Here we go. We've got a showdown coming up tomorrow. We've got the Minnesota Vikings taking on Pittsburgh Steelers. It's an interesting game. I'm not sure where Dalvin Cook is at. They've listed him as questionable. So, really, Madison is a great play. If you're looking on in terms of the showdown and the pricing, Madison's only $7K on Draftstars tomorrow. I think he'll be everywhere if Dalvin Cook
it was meant to be a
up.
2-week injury to start with. So even if Cook is back, sure, as a Vikings fan, I sort of hope they ease him in and so he doesn't get injured further.
And as well, the Steelers have been giving up so many yards on the ground as of late, so I don't mind Madison as a play anyway, even if Cook's in. If anything, if Cook's in, then potentially less people play Madison, which means he's a better play to just handle the rock, because I think he will. I think he'll handle the rock still.
I think with the price, he's going to be really popular, though, so you have to get different elsewhere with your Madison lineups.
It's true, but you have to play JJ. You have to play Justin Jefferson. No Adam Thielen. You can't. It would be impossible, I think, for JJ to not
crazy
be optimal.
stats.
You got some crazy stats?
Yeah, some
KJ Osborne's worth a play. D.D. Westbrook's the third man up, played 32% of the snaps after Thielen went down. So Westbrook, after a full week of practice, I think could be a decent punt if you want to get cheap on that last little spot.
Yeah.
What's your crazy stats, Arch?
My crazy stat, Justin Jefferson. Do you want to guess what percentage of air yards he had of the team last week?
Let's go with 85%.
No,
it's too much.
Knob. Yeah, 53.7%. That's still an outrageous number.
It's crazy. But
moving him around a bit as well. Spent 25% of his routes came from the slot as well. So
he's Mr. Do It All.
And Pittsburgh aren't going to stop him.
Nah, that's all right. But I do like Najee Harris and Deontay Johnson a lot.
Yeah, it's just volume plays, isn't it?
Exactly, and they're really, if Justin Jefferson gets up early, then they're going to be playing from behind, which you love that. Deontay Johnson put up 108 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against Baltimore. So
43% of their air yards as well. So he's on the other side.
That's it. So anyway, they're the plays that everyone will be playing. If you want to get different with that showdown, I think you got to get the right combo of Conklin, Osborne, Dede Westbrook, and figure out what the right running back plays are as well. I don't think I'll be playing Ben Roethlisberger. I can't quite get behind him.
I don't know,
being in the optimal at his price. He's always priced near the top because he's
Minnesota gave it up to Goff. Like
that's true.
And
that is true.
So I potentially might have throw a few real Pittsburgh heavy lines. That might be a way to get different. Just
that's
having by a couple extra players.
I don't
Chase
like
Claypool.
the defenses though. I think this is going to be there's going to be scores in this game.
Oh, absolutely scores. You're not going to come in 5th place with 58 points like I did Monday night.
Definitely not.
Chase Claypool's an interesting one. He's sort of gone off a lot of people's radar. Do you think he might be a way to get a bit different, or do you think
100%.
he might come in with some ownership?
This is the guy with the 3 touchdown games attached. What was it, 5? Did he have a 5 touchdown game last year?
Or,
like,
I don't
was
want
it
to say
4
that.
maybe? Either way, but he's a guy that can rip it big. So I definitely think he's going to be under-owned and can be that leverage off of Deontay Johnson, especially. So
Only 3 targets last week gives me pause. That's all.
yeah, I think he's coming off injury though. He's been a bit banged up, so watch that space. That's for sure. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting showdown tomorrow night. That's for sure. Anyway, let's pull it up. Let's if you're on YouTube with us, you can have a look here at the screen and see the different prices and the players and stuff like that. So, Arch, I think you got to pull that up for us. And
oh yeah, that's my job.
That's your job. So here we are. We're looking at Draftstars. We're going to jump through some of the games here. The first game that we've got, I know it's not listed first here, but we're going to firstly look at
got a couple of big entries in
Atlanta.
play in live contests at the moment, Rowan, on the right there.
Yeah. Look, a bit of cricket going on. Thought I'd just have a go.
Just threw one in there.
Profiting at the moment in the test, but hey, 3 days to go. So see what my $2 can do over the next 3 days. All right, let's look at this Atlanta and Carolina game. I'm not loving much here, Arch. Carolina's defense has been fairly decent. Unfortunately, no Christian McCaffrey for them. Really, Atlanta, they've been playing through Cordero, and last week they played through Russell Gage. Kyle Pitts is still there. He's still running a heck of a lot. So I look at this game. I don't think I really want to stack anything. Potentially, you could do a small correlation play with DJ Moore and a Cordero, or a DJ Moore and someone else. And that's probably where I'll draw the line, like maybe a Russell Gage. Maybe we go back to Russell Gage after his fantastic 11 for 130. The week before, 6 for 62 and a touchdown. Like he's clearly the number 1 wide receiver on the team.
Yeah.
Excluding Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts, you look at him and he's 4 for 48, 2 for 26. He's been shut right down. He needs Ridley taking that that top defender. He does.
He's not the blocking tight end. We all knew that. But what that means is he's playing as their top wide receiver, and he's not quite ready for that yet. So I think we're a year too early. But look at 10K. Look, if he has one of the weeks that he could have, we've seen his ceiling. That could be a way to really put yourself ahead of the field, though.
The reality is, though, it's a 42.5 point total. Carolina 2.5 point favorites. I don't love it. No. Cam Newton, though, at 11,800 against this horrific Atlanta defense does intrigue me. Yeah, he had that game there, 189, 2 touchdowns. He's rushed for a touchdown every game the last three games. So, I mean, Cam Newton, DJ Moore is as far as I'd push that stack, but it's getting a bit thin.
No, and where we had some points coming back when they played Tampa Bay was, they were down by so much they had to push it. Carolina potentially isn't going to have the points on the board. That's going to force Atlanta to be playing,
that's it,
heavily with those pass catches.
For Cordero to win you a tournament, you really need him to push 25, and he hasn't done that
at his price now.
He's done it 2 times in the past 2 months, so I'm going to avoid. All right, let's move on to the next game, Arch, where we've got another, just great game. Cleveland and Baltimore.
Yeah, I've looked at my spreadsheet and it's just red everywhere. It's a 42-point total. Both teams are towards the bottom end in terms of pace of play. So whenever I see low points, slow pace, I'm not looking at this at all in GPPs. We're looking at, Baltimore, they'll be an efficient offense, like if they do pass it. Like Lamar Jackson, I think at his price point, I think there's just other options out there that I'd probably be more leaning to. And we're not seeing the ceiling games of late, like we saw against Minnesota. But they're few and far between. And when Vegas has the points this low, it's not really interesting to me. Mark Andrews could be a way to get different at tight end, but you're going to have to eat up a lot of salary for that. And, you really want him to hit 20 points at 11K in a GPP. And he's not really, he's okay, but not at that price. So I'm probably avoiding this matchup as well.
Yeah, me too. Lamar Jackson does intrigue me a bit because he is less than 15,000, which we know if he gets his rush on, like he could eclipse 25 points. But yeah, you're right. It's hard to trust at the moment. His interceptions have been through the roof. That 4 interception game a few weeks ago, a bit ugly. Devonta Freeman is the back. He is the clear back, which is really intriguing. If he gets a touchdown, potentially he pays off at his 11,500 price point. So it's an interesting one. He got 5 bowls last week, 6 bowls 3 weeks ago. So he's in amongst it. But again, like you say, it's there's better plays at that price.
I think so.
Let's move on. What have we got next? We have a better game by a long way, and that is Dallas. We're going to look at Dallas and Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas and Washington. Let me just say that it's got to be one of the most yo-yo-iest quarterbacks at the moment. Look at that. 12.2, 28.3, 4.6, 26.3. Like, what we're getting the last month is so hard to trust.
If you follow that pattern, Rowan, what kind of week are we going to have?
Due for a boom, apparently. But Washington have been solid, and actually Washington have been pretty solid against the run. And look, this guy Campy in our Discord chat likes to follow Dallas, and maybe he can give us some insight. So if you jump on our Discord for $2 a month, then maybe he'll let you know more about Dallas.
Yeah.
But
he's a well-measured guy. He doesn't get emotional at all during DFS slates.
Never.
That's what I appreciate about him.
I'm going to be fading Zeke and Pollard. I know Pollard's dealing with an injury at the moment as well. Zeke, look, here's the thing. If Pollard's injured and he's out, so monitor the news, everybody. Zeke is an interesting play for sheer volume.
Yeah.
Zeke is listed as healthy. He's been dealing with something lately, but he's listed as healthy. He's full practice. So there is something there. However, their defense has stood up as of late. So still hesitant, which means Dak Prescott needs to throw probably if Zeke can't get it going on the ground.
Yeah.
So I am looking at CeeDee Lamb to provide something. And he's, again, 14,000. This is a guy who can twice in the last 6 weeks has doubled that. And sprinkled in there's a 19 and a 20 as well, so which is still solid. The risk is his floor is really low, really low. 3 for 14, 2 for 23. Gross. That's ugly.
No,
so
but in a GPP, you're building this stack for, when he doesn't hit, Dax doesn't hit. But when he hits, Dax having a good game as well. And so you're getting that correlation. Amari Cooper's the interesting one. He's priced down. Coming off of COVID, they weren't happy with his fitness, and they still trotted him out a little bit. And he caught that pass, and I faded him big time. When he caught that pass, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna, he's all good. But then I don't think he played too much after that. So, I'll be interested to see some practice reports coming into this game to see how much he practiced, whether he's got his full fitness back after having COVID. But potentially this is just another sign to point to CeeDee Lamb. Potentially the crowd will see Cooper's price and be attracted to that as well. So CeeDee Lamb with the hype, as two and a bit grand more expensive might have the less ownership as well.
That's it. I think Cooper and Lamb have a similar ceiling
Yes.
So they're kind of interchangeable,
Absolutely.
and so because of that, Cooper at cheaper price points really quite nice. Michael Gallup is again fading into the number 3 role at 11.5. I don't know if he'll be able to show enough to pay off there. On the other side of the ball, though, now let's talk about Antonio Gibson, because Gibson came out last week.
Yes.
Handled the rock a heck of a lot. 5 for 23 and a touchdown in the air, and then 88 yards on the ground. Love to see that.
Barely moved his salary.
Oh, I know. He's 12K, everybody. He has doubled that, well, almost doubled that. 22 last week and 26.6 the week before. Like, this guy is on a roll. J.D. McKissick's still dealing with his back injury. Like, I don't think J.D. McKissick gets up this week, which means another full workload for Antonio Gibson against Dallas, who haven't been superb. Like, they've been so-so against the run. Like, Antonio Gibson's just going to get volume, and we know what he can do with it. So, at 12K, he's going to be chalk. Everyone's going to be looking to him. But it's good chalk, I think. This is a high total game.
Yep.
Like, at 47.5. So, Gibson is a bit of a lock for me.
Yeah.
I'll try and play over the field, actually.
Yeah, and the key is that it's the passing work, right? They'll be playing from behind.
That's right.
And so he won't get phased out because if McKissick's not there. Tight end land, though, look, I don't mind Dalton Schultz as a play to get off of maybe the wide receivers, who's going to be a little bit more popular. It's not that cheap, but he intrigues me. I think he'll be part of some of my Dallas stacks for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I like Dalton Schultz. Logan Thomas back on IR, sadly.
Yes.
Which will leave Ricky Seals-Jones to come back in. He's apparently getting healthy. So Ricky Seals-Jones there at 6,500 is probably one of my favourite punt plays at the tight end position this week. We've seen him do something before. I know John Bates is there, and he had 3 catches for 42 last week. There's been 3 weeks of 3 catches, which is nice, but he's at 6K. So really... But Ricky Seals-Jones is the proven asset, so I'd be more inclined to go with him if I want to punt at tight end. So I don't mind that price at 6,500, that's for sure. Terry McLaurin, I'm probably fading. Taylor Heineke, I'm definitely fading. I'm expecting Trayvon Diggs to kind of pull out something here and probably catch another interception or 2. So I'm gonna pass on Heineke in the pass catches here in Washington.
Yeah, Dallas defense they're not at the super high expensive pricing that other
63.50.
So I think that's worth a play for the potential pick 6 opportunity there.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the next game, which is Jacksonville and Tennessee. Jacksonville and Tennessee is a really intriguing one. I'm not going to build any stacks out of this whatsoever. I can't trust Trevor Lawrence. He is rated, I think, 34th in pass efficiency. Out of the quarterback. So there's 32 starting teams, and Trevor Lawrence is 34th. So I'm going to avoid Trevor Lawrence big time. James Robinson intrigues me because he's cheap at 11,500. And the other people that intrigue me are Dontrell Hilliard and Dante Foreman, both at 10.5 and 10. This run game is ugly, but Hilliard put up 131 rush yards and a rushing touchdown against New England.
Yep.
Deontay Foreman put up 109 rushing yards against New England. Now, granted, they both lost a fumble, but they're sharing the work. Jacksonville are just the worst defense against the run. Sony Michel just torched them last week. So, I don't know. I feel like if you could hit one of these guys, and if you get it right, it's going to pay off for you. I feel like there's the potential for a 20-point game here. Hilliard's the probably my pick because he's more of a receiver. Eight receptions 2 weeks ago. Deontay Foreman, just 1 reception, 2 receptions. So Hilliard's probably my pick at 10,500. I feel like there's something there in a tournament play, but otherwise I'm avoiding this game entirely.
Yeah, they're not sexy names, and so I guess the hope is, we're probably going to see pretty low ownership, like ridiculously low ownership there. So if they hit, that's a real difference maker for sure.
Like there's a 44-point total. I feel like it's just all going to come through the ground. Yeah,
it could be worse. But yeah, and on the Tennessee side, it's just it's the efficiency that we're not going to see. We're not very slow pace. of play. I mean, Julio's back. Do you dare even go there? He's cheap at 10K, but yeah, it was probably risky. I think is he still? I thought they activated him.
It says he's an IR. Let's. I'll have a little look.
But it'd be hard to. You'd be hard pressed to find the pass catches that would pay off. They really need to get in the box to be worth their weight at all. But yeah, I think I'll be avoiding this game.
He practiced Wednesday, Julio. So yeah,
he's
you're right on that.
Designated to return, maybe.
Yeah, he's designated. Anyway, it's a bit of an ugly game. It's if you pick anyone, they're going to be super low rostered. So anyway, next up's a bit more interesting. Let's spend a little bit more time with this one.
A lot more green on my spreadsheet now.
Yeah, that's it. Here we go. Vegas taking on Kansas City. It's nice to see Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey back on our main slate.
Yeah,
they've had a lot of showdowns. I feel lately.
Yeah, that's right.
So these guys here,
they're meant to be a blockbuster offense this year, so they're getting the prime time. But I don't know if that's what we're getting.
Yeah, they've really kind of faded big time. Last week, Tyreek Hill 4.2. 2 weeks before 20 and 27.5. But again, here he is priced at almost 17,000.
Yeah, they don't price him down, do they?
No, they won't, and they probably shouldn't, because you're gunning for that big game that he can produce. Look at that 4th of October, 50.6 Draftstars points way back when. So, yeah, it's hard to trust him. It's hard to trust the Kansas City offense. Patrick Mahomes going at aside from his 39.2 3 weeks ago, the scores surrounding that are dismal. 13.6, 8.5, 10.4, 15, 8.7. Like, that's gross. It's seriously gross. Now, the 39.24, interestingly, his best score the last 3 weeks, came against Las Vegas.
That is interesting.
So, you got to take that into account. Like, that, they probably will employ some similar kind
difference being that
plan.
Was at Vegas in a dome.
Yes.
Whereas we're getting colder in Kansas City now, so we can't make too strong a comparison, but still interesting.
That's fair. Clyde Edwards-Helaire came back last week.
Yeah.
He 54 rushing yards, 3 receptions for 28. Pretty much split 50-50 with Darrell Williams. He had 20 rushing yards, but 3 receptions for 60 yards. So Darrell Williams is running more routes as well. So Darrell's still the guy that's catching the ball, but it's looking like they really tried last week against Denver to establish the run and put both these guys out in the park and only throw when they had to, and it was a low total. So my vibe is that this is going to be a different type of game, and perhaps they won't do that as much. But either way, if there's some similarity between their game plan from last week, then I don't know, I get nervous about this Kansas City offense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as well. Like it's one. This is the classic game where I'm really interested in rostership projections.
Yeah.
Because if this is a popular game, it's an easy fade for me.
Yeah.
Like that, because like you said, we've seen Kansas City underperform in that offense. But then I look at both teams have good pace. It's 48 point total, so should be points. It should be, Kansas City -9. That's a heavy favorite. So Vegas are going to keep throwing the ball there. So there's definitely a place to be had. But I really just want to know, is there, if it's under-owned, I think I'm interested in some Kansas onslaughts. I'm not game to go Carr's direction. I don't think he's cheap enough to warrant anything like that. Especially when it's only Renfro or bust really as his weapons, right?
Yeah, Darren Waller's yet to go back to practice. Renfro at 11.6, I think, is fantastic value.
Yeah, is
so
it because no one's playing him? That's why they're not moving his price up.
Quite possibly. But last 2 weeks, 22.2, 24.6, 9 receptions, 8 receptions.
He knows
this guy
how to get the football.
Catches the ball. Like, he's just there. So with Darren Waller not practicing yet, and Foster Moreau showing that he can be an absolute bust.
We saw Deshaun Jackson's bumped up a little bit in price as well. He's not the 6K punt. Like, he's still only 7 and a bit thousand. So he's someone
he
who
did nothing though last week.
No,
1 for 14. Zay Jones was on the field heaps. I feel like way more than Deshaun Jackson was, and he caught, what did he have? 3 for 21. So I'm just probably going to avoid any of those guys. I don't.
Yep.
What I'm learning, I think, is that I'd rather pay down at running back for volume than take a punt play at wide receiver in the 6K range. It's just it's hurt a lot of my lineups lately, and even in tournaments, there's still guys that you can kind of pivot around to mean that you don't have to. You can play a way less owned decent wide receiver than having to go down to a punt play like Deshaun Jackson or I played too much DeAndre Carter last week. That's for sure. Josh Jacobs is another one that I really like. 12K still and 24 last week.
Drake's
no Drake,
still, isn't he? Yep.
Yeah, like it's his backfield.
Yeah. No,
he had 9 catches last week.
Yep. That's
awesome.
That's what we've been asking for years.
Big time.
And this is the thing. If I look at the running backs on option on this slate, it's I don't really want to pay up. Maybe Eckler. I think he could have a good bounce back now because after he disappointed a lot of people, he could be under-owned, and he wasn't that highly owned last week either. But other than that, I think it's the 12 to 10K running back week again.
Yeah, I agree. There's some great 12K plays. Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson come to mind straight away.
Yes.
So, I think I play a fair bit of this, and this game is what's it got? It's a 48-point total.
Yep.
So, again, pretty good to kind of take a shot on.
Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is more expensive than Jacobs. That's come on, Draftstars.
That's stupid. That's straight up stupid. I guess it's just the Kansas City name.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think there's some good plays here. There's some good plays, that's for sure. You don't have to get too cute either to make it a little bit different. Guys, have we told you about our Patreon? It's $2 a month.
I've never heard about it. Can you tell me more?
Let me tell you. It's $2 a month, and it's nothing. What it does helps us get some fancy graphics, and it helps us grow our little community, join our Discord. We love talking DFS with you guys. We love talking about really anything fantasy football.
How many were in the top 10 of that contest last week?
I think we had 5 in the top 10.
5 Discord members in that top 10.
Or four members. Oh no, I think it was 3 members, but 4 entries in the top 10 out of that Saints showdown.
What more do you need to say? It's working. It's helping.
Hey, that's it. So come on, join us. You can find us at patreon.com/the TFL podcast. Got different tiers, but let's face it, you pay $2 a month and you come and hang out with us in our Discord chat. It's
that's all you
good
need
time.
to do. Or give us more money for nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Next up, we have got the Jets taking on New Orleans.
Yeah.
What do you think here, Chris?
Nah. No.
Just no?
Really? Just no. Look, Elijah Moore is just quietly just dominating as a rookie right now, isn't he? I don't know if you want to bring up his box scores, but
I certainly
he
do.
is absolutely killing. 20 points. And it's
PPR
good that
monster.
I know, and it was finally a Zach Wilson game as well where he hit as well. So he's had so many quarterbacks, and he's just knows how to get into space, get the ball. I don't mind him as someone you can play, but if you want to try to get some sort of little correlation with him, I struggle, and I really, Alvin Kamara sitting. Is it to me? It's the week back from injury. I'm worried that it what's the production going to be, and it's in a game that it's low points. It's against I don't know. It's something about Kamara just scares me this week. Rowan, talk me out of that. Then
look, Mark Ingram's going on the COVID-19 list.
Yeah.
So you got to watch that and monitor that. If Kamara goes into this game with no Mark Ingram and Taysom Hill, who is dealing with mallet finger. He's dealing with something with his hand.
You made that
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. I was listening to Matthew Betts, friend of the show. So going into this game, the Jets stink.
Yeah.
How are they going to sustain drives in terms of thinking about New Orleans? Deontay Harris is also out for 3 weeks, suspended for DUI. So thanks for the money, mate, but see you later. Alvin Kamara, I don't know. It's just volume, and if a guy's healthy and he's okay to go, I think you jump on it. Alvin Kamara, I think he's in line here for just a monster game. Like, if we just like sometimes we get too scared by injury, and we forget the talent. Alvin Kamara is a talent that he doesn't get hit that often. Like he's a guy that is so elusive that could pull off a 60-yard run and touchdown, and not get touched by anyone. Like this is a guy that can produce so efficiently that I really am keen on Alvin Kamara this week.
All right.
So
talk me around. So
look, this is where I'm at with him. I don't want to run it back with anything except Elijah Moore, and that he's dealing with a quad injury, so we have to be mindful of that. He might not even play. And so if Elijah Moore doesn't play either, this Jets team's going to do jack all. And so Alvin Kamara, I think, is just going to be able to run the clock. He's the guy. Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara will rush for a combined, let's say, 250 yards against the Jets, and he'll throw for about 110. That's about it, if that. Yep. So, like they're going to put up yards. Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
So
there's no one else though. We're not going to touch. We're not touching Taysom Hill this week.
Let's keep moving on. Next up, we got an interesting game in Seattle and Houston. The interesting thing here, Arch, really is that Metcalf and Lockett both kindly came back into the fold. 5 for 60 from Metcalf and 7 for 68 and a touchdown
last week in redraft.
Yeah, so Lockett's putting together a decent-ish month.
Yeah.
How are you viewing this game?
Yeah, it could be my own biases again, but I'm just not happy with Russell Wilson's output at the moment. But then as I look at his salary, $13K, it's getting pretty cheap that potentially against Houston, this could be a big game.
Because let's face it, the Seattle running backs suck. Alex Collins is perpetually injured.
Do they?
Yeah, apparently. Adrian Peterson's there now.
Yeah, the
Did you
ghost
catch
of
that?
Adrian Peterson.
Like he might rush for a touchdown, but he's not even basement price. He's 9,400. I don't want to.
This is a game you're not bringing anyone back on the Houston side, right? Like
Brandon Cooks.
Nah, who's even the quarterback in Houston at this stage? Like,
Davis Mills is going to start.
Yeah,
and he is sitting there at 8K.
No.
There is something in me.
No,
there is something. Look at these two games. 24.4, 27.7. Came against New England and the Rams. Or was it the Rams or the Chargers? It doesn't have it there. There's a potential. Against Seattle's defense is rubbish.
Yeah. I mean, if you're obviously, in your, mass multi-entry tournament of 100
look at the 50
entries,
cent. I'll definitely be putting in 5 Davis Mills lineups.
But I probably aren't going to even look this way for my 10 entries in the mini.
No, for sure. I can understand that. That's fair. I don't know, though. There's something here about Davis Mills.
Obviously, you're going to be able to get up to a lot of other players, and
if he
you want to build up some big correlations elsewhere. But
if he hits 13 points, he hasn't killed you.
Yeah, but he's not winning you a GPP with 13 points.
He is with 24 points.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fair.
Just because he's done it twice. That's my interest. Anyway, but you're right, Mr. Smart, measured Arch over there.
Let's move on.
Let's go.
Can we move on, or is there anyone else you want to talk about here?
Jared Everett is interesting as well.
Yeah.
Just for a touchdown. He's only priced at 6,000. Where is he? 6,680. Like that's all right for a punt tight end. I don't mind that.
Yep.
Anyway. All right. Next up, we've got Denver taking on Detroit. Arch, I think the biggest thing here in this game is Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. And
for sure.
What they're going to do.
That's what we're looking at. We're not going to get seduced by Jamal Williams at all.
Nope.
So, will Detroit come back after having a big game against the Vikings last week? I don't think so. I think, those one-off games, they happen, don't they? Bad teams. Although, Denver's, people are talking in redraft about dropping guys like Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, aren't they? Like
yeah, they are.
It's hardly the offense that's humming. But yeah, again, I look at my spreadsheet. I'm looking at 42-point total. I'm looking at the 28th and the 30th ranked team in terms of neutral pace of play. Like, they are slow. Denver will probably get a lead, sit on it, and it's all about Javonte Williams. That's I just hope.
What do you think about Melvin Gordon? Let's just see what his impact is. Like, if he comes back,
absolutely.
How do you still view this? Do you still think Javonte is like the guy here? Like, could you play him anyway?
I think I want to see a full practice out of Gordon, and if that's the case, I think they go back to business as usual with the 50-50 split that they've been going. Gordon hasn't looked like sluggish or bad at all.
That's true.
So they've got no reason to just want to give it to Javonte Williams. Why are they protecting Gordon's health when he's not contracted next year? So it's in their best interest not to have Javonte Williams be the bell cow.
That's true.
So,
do you want Melvin Gordon 10,500 if he plays?
No, I'll probably still avoid. Really, I redraft. Absolutely, he'll be in a lineup because I'm struggling with my Gordon team. Not for DFS this week. But hopefully they decide to just let him fully heal up, and we get a full Javonte Williams at 11K. Thank you very much.
He'll definitely be 70% owned.
Yeah, I don't care.
At that point.
Against Detroit, you can't not play him.
Yeah, that's right. Next up, we've got the Chargers taking on the Giants. This is a game where, it's a 44.5-point total, but the Chargers are 10.5-point favourites.
Yes.
Now, Keenan Allen has COVID.
Yes.
So we have to watch that space. He's vaccinated, so if he could come back, but he actually has the thing, so be aware. Mike Williams has been listed as a close contact. So if Mike Williams needs to bring back the negative test as well. So much hinges on Keenan Allen's availability and also Mike Williams' availability. Yeah. So let's go into the game kind of assuming that Keenan Allen doesn't play. I love Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
I love Austin Eckler. I haven't got his splits with me right now, but Eckler without Allen just dominates. Mike Williams without Keenan Allen is also really, really solid as well. So looking at those two, you can definitely easily build a Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Eckler stack and run it from there. Mike Williams still only priced at 12K. Like, he's got great boom potential. If he pulls out the 19 or the 20.7 that he did 1 and 3 weeks ago, then there's every chance that he'll pay that off. So really, that's kind of where I'm sticking. You could take a shot at. Let me scroll down here.
Jalen Guyton.
Jalen Guyton, I don't mind.
6.8K.
Yeah, 6.8K. Pretty decent. The other guy, though, that I don't mind is Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer's got a slightly lower ADOT, so I feel like he might fill the Keenan Allen role a little bit better than Guyton does. Yep. And he has shown to be pretty efficient with his targets as well this year. So Palmer potentially is the better choice in my mind in terms of efficiency and what role he plays compared to Keenan Allen. So just keeping that in mind. On the other side, because let's face it, you can play a lot of Chargers. Jared Cook as well. Just go for it. Like, the Giants suck. Saquon Barkley's the only option on the other side, really. And Barkley's sitting there 12.2K.
I'm interested.
I'm out. The opportunity's there, but the team sucks.
That's it. Who's even their quarterback this week?
Jake Fromm.
Draftstars haven't even got him in the system.
Haven't they?
Well, pretty sure he's not in there.
Brian Lewerke's there instead. So
come on, guys.
Wow, that's something else.
That's interesting. I mean, you're not going to play him anyway. It's not worth writing home about. But yeah, look, to be honest, with the COVID news, I might just be going back to the well here with Chargers stacks in half of my mini entries. We're looking at, especially Eckler after a poor game. And with COVID news around the team, people are going to be off of these stacks, I think, anyway. Obviously, we want to do some investigating. I'll be looking at sort of roster projections. Unfortunately, no one really produces them in Australia, so I'll be looking at DraftKings projections. And generally, that gives a bit of an idea of what people are thinking.
Yeah.
But, so I think this is a chance here to get a leg up on the field. For a 44.5 point total isn't huge, but it's a 27.5 point implied team total. And so
look at that. Look at that defense price. 8,380 for the Chargers defense is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Huge.
So expect I'll probably want to pay
off
the defense. That they never really follow their salaries that well.
No.
Goods, Giants could do something that Chargers can let things happen, but I'm not going to run it back properly. These are probably one-way stacks, probably 2 to 3 pass catches with Herbert.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about. We've got 2 more games left. Let's quickly talk about the San Fran and Cincinnati game here. It's a really intriguing one. You've got George Kittle, who just absolutely monstered the competition without Deebo Samuel last week for 42.6. He's sitting there at 14,000. We know that he can just. Well, he showed it. He could absolutely rip it off. And if Deebo is not back from his groin injury, he's day-to-day, I'm pretty sure, so he could be back. But that will play a part in figuring out whether we go back to the Kittle and the Ayuk. Ayuk did not make the most of the opportunity. 8.5, sadly, from, 3 catches, 55 yards. I don't know. It could flip. The thing is, I just don't trust this San Francisco offense. And the really big interesting thing at the moment is actually that Elijah Mitchell is dealing with a concussion at the moment. So if he doesn't get up, Jeff Wilson's injured. He probably won't play. Trey Sermon is injured as well. Jermichael Hasty is the last guy standing, and here he is at 8,000. This is a San Francisco run offense. So if Jermichael Hasty's the last guy standing here and Elijah Mitchell doesn't get up, I'm just going to play Jermichael Hasty a lot. Yeah, he's just an easy play. So I don't mind that. On the other side, we got Joe Mixon dealing with a neck issue, so just monitor that. If he doesn't get up, then Samaje Perine is the next guy up. And again, Samaje Perine is sitting here. Where is he? Gosh, there he is. 8,400. So another guy that really you can just plug in and take the free square there, which is fantastic. The other thing, though, to play at contrarian is that, okay, if Joe Mixon's not getting up, or even if you think he's going to be a bit limited and his snaps might not be as high, let's play a Joe Burrow stack here. Let's bring out Chase and Higgins, Higgins has particularly been really solid lately. Huge, 31.8, 26.4 last 2 weeks. Just follow the volume, everybody. That's what you get for it. Jamar on the other side, not so nice, but hey, if Higgins, he's dealing with a little bit of a niggle as well, so Jamar Chase gets up. I don't know. I feel like you could go a Burrow stack here and bring it back with a kill. And I don't know. I don't think the field's going to be too high on that. So I'm just going to be looking at that probably is the only situation. And then, of course, those punt running backs that we can get free volume from. So that's probably where I'm sitting with this game, Arch. Anything that you think you could do instead?
No, look, I probably will have a lot of the sort of, 2-player mini correlations from this game throughout different lineups. T. Higgins' volume is going to make him pretty popular. You'd think by now, I don't know, but people seem to be a bit burned from.
It's just not a name. It's not a big name. Jamar Chase is a bigger name.
Yeah, potentially anyway. But no. I probably won't touch a Burrow stack. I think the efficiency is too high that it's not the 40 completion games that he was having in his rookie year.
Yeah, that's fair. I think though if Mixon is limited, then he has the potential to throw for 30 times.
I mean, it felt like Mixon was bloody limited last week.
He sure was. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the last game, the big one. Buffalo taking on Tampa Bay. We've got a 53.5 point total. This is exciting to talk about. You've got big prices here. You've got people are going to be playing this game all over the shop. It's going to be really chalky. So you're going to try. You have to get different. You can play what? You can play a Tampa onslaught. You can play a Buffalo onslaught. If there's lots of points to be had, you can kind of tackle this game in a lot of different ways. Arch, how would you most want to tackle this game?
I mean, you could almost think of it as a showdown slate in a way, and have 2 players bringing it back on the other side with 3 to 4 on one side. If you believe that this game's going to be true to the points, like are the defenses not going to be able to stop the offenses? That's what you've got to think. And potentially, if you've got an inkling that, hey, this could be one of those games that sort of is a defensive matchup, this could be a game to fade because of the popularity of it. Was the high points, fast pace teams attract punters, and so it's an interesting point. I'm not there yet. I'm just thinking out loud here that this potentially is a game that could. We've seen it before where we have two juggernauts come up against each other, but Tampa's got an okay defense. Buffalo's had an okay defense. Maybe this is a matchup that is a bit of a grind fest.
Yeah, I think Fournette's the only running back I'd be happy to play on this slate.
Absolutely. So I'm not touching a Buffalo running back for the year.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Dawson Knox really knocks out any value that Cole Beasley has. We haven't seen Cole Beasley be decent for DFS since Dawson Knox has been back.
We haven't seen any Buffalo pass catchers not named Diggs do anything for weeks now, haven't we? Whereas it was the other way around. It was everyone but Diggs early in the season.
Yeah. Dawson Knox had 2 good weeks out of the last 3. It's just last week in that snow or the wind, the gale game.
You can't look at last Monday night game at all.
I'm ignoring that.
Yeah.
Dawson
Knox.
Knox.
I don't mind Knox this week.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to be under-owned in this space.
To me, Josh Allen and Diggs, they have to have big games to be a chance to win. And so for that, if you believe that Buffalo could win, they has to go through those two guys. I don't see how, they can win otherwise. So, an Allen Diggs Knox sort of stack is something I'd probably be looking at. And then, you've got to pick your poison on bringbacks. Gronk
Could you do a 2 tight end lineup with Gronk and Knox?
It's possible. Sometimes the tight ends give great point for dollar value, don't they? And so it's not something I lean to often, but it's something that's possible. But Gronk's someone who just keeps scoring touchdowns since he's come back from injury.
Does.
And his price is only slowly creeping up. Yeah,
look, I like Gronk. He's cheaper than he was last week, I believe. I think last week he was $12,800. He's dropped by $800. So Gronk's nice. Mike Evans is nice. He's been putting up solid games, but we know he can go massive. And you got to watch for whether Tre'Davious White's back in or not. I feel like he's not. So Mike Evans could have a real path here if Tom Brady gets good protection. I like Evans here as the cheaper of Godwin and Evans. That's probably the play. Godwin's a great PPR play, especially after last week,
absolutely.
33.
He'll be super popular. I probably will fade just on an ownership standpoint.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you can play this many ways, but look, Brady stacks, Allen stacks, all incredibly viable. So look, enjoy that game, everybody, because that's just going to be fun way. And look, if you're winning at the end of the early games, watch out. Watch out for the Brady and Allen stacks to come and get you.
Are we out on the ancillary cheap plays on both of these teams? For instance, Tyler Johnson on Tampa Bay, Scotty Miller and Gabriel Davis on the Buffalo side. Are we sort of think it's just too thin a play? Obviously,
Gabriel Davis, not after last week.
But is that just a one-off the way that game played? What was his snaps for the week?
That is a good question. I'll have to look that one up.
He seems to have a little bit more work than the Tampa guys.
Yeah, no, he does. I think it's hard to balance, obviously, but in terms of outside threats, Emmanuel Sanders is slowing down. I haven't quite seen enough from Emmanuel Sanders lately, but let me just look
28% snap share for
for
Davis. So, 4 target. I mean, obviously the game's hard to... Yeah, it's hard to also take too much from that game as well, I guess.
It's true. But if there's more passing volume and there's more opportunities, then...
he's only cracked 50% snaps twice this season.
True.
So the play's thin, but obviously that's why you're not paying anything for him.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders is a tournament-only play.
Yeah, I'm out.
He could get something going, but
he could.
It's
I don't know. The more I look at this game, it makes me want to fade it. But then there's so many options that you still could have quite a different lineup and still get pieces of this game. So yeah, no, it's definitely got this game that requires some good research, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the Week 14 slate. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me remind you once again of our Patreon, $2 a month. Join our Discord, get on board. There are a couple of extra showdowns that will happen towards the end of the Sunday Night Football is Chicago taking on Green Bay, which is but then you got Arizona, LA Rams on Monday Night Football. Yep. So I'm excited for that game and to see whether it's AJ Green, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, or Rondale Moore that actually wins the lineup. It's a tournament because who knows how that's going to really play out. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. Arch,
yes,
it's been great to chat. And, we'll catch you next time.
No worries. Bye.
See ya.